Hello and welcome back. We've got the back nine from round one of the 2017 Vibram Open. We got BigSexy commentary, back at it. Myself, Nate Sexton, and Jeremy Koling.
Yeah, we saw some players battling tight woods here at Maple Hill Golds, and James Conrad coming in at 2 under par through the front nine. Solid front nine, and you and Josh Anthon right on his coattails at 1 under. Simon not quite hanging with the rest of the group, 2 over par through the front nine. But there's a lot of birdie opportunities coming into the back.
Yeah, this is probably chief among them. This is a new hole that we're playing this year that is, not, instead of the castle basket position, we've actually shortened the tee pad up. It's got a very wide gap. I would think it's one of the easiest holes on the course.
Right you are again, Nate. This is the easiest hole of the day through round one. And I don't see that changing much. It's a pretty fair tee, I mean, incredibly fair. And you don't even really have to lace the shot that perfect. If you get through this initial gap here and over this hill,
yes,
which is slightly uphill off the tee, if you're throwing the forehand, you're going to be getting somewhat close to that hillside. Then you should be set up for a second shot up to the green. And I talked to Dave, the groundskeeper, about this one, and I asked him what the point of the change was. And he had some interesting points. The hole will continue to change. That's one of the things about Maple Hill. I don't think I've ever played the same layout 2 years in a row. In fact,
yep,
I know I haven't. They change things up every year. They're trying to make it better.
Yeah.
And just the ground, the landing zone for the old 10 long, 10 gold was just a little bit too random, and he didn't like the way it set up because you couldn't see the casual players. You couldn't see the tee, and
yep,
it could potentially be dangerous. So he wanted to change that. And
Simon just crushes the
wow,
disc. It didn't quite go right enough. It's almost impossible to make it go right enough.
Wow.
But he went way up there.
Yeah, that's hyper aggressive. I mean, even for Simon, he's trying to get himself a look at it.
Yep.
And it's just out of 2 range. If you
is it? Whoa!
Oh my gosh! All right,
Josh.
I won't say that again, but I mean, it just seems like it for the normal player.
Yeah, it absolutely is
completely out of 2 range, and I mean, it's just so easy to 3 it. And I mean, we have a couple runs here for 2. There was a bet going around that there'd be 2 eagles a day on this hole.
I don't think so,
and I don't think there will be.
It's just too far uphill.
It is. It's just a little bit too far out of range. You can get your drive to 60, 70 feet with a perfect drive. And so I can see if you do that 4 times in a row, you'll make one of those.
Yeah.
But you're not going to make all 4.
Simon for his birdie, and it doesn't go. So disappointing for him. He had to throw that little forehand out, and it just caught and rolled on him. Mm-hmm. Tough to have the drive go that far up there, so close to the basket, but just a little bit of a bad reaction on the ground.
Yeah, and this is one where par feels like bogey, and birdie feels like par. There's really no birdieing this hole. It's just kind of staying with the pack or falling behind.
Yep.
And that's probably not feeling so great there for Simon, who's still 2 over par. He's got to get things going here if he wants to be competitive at this event.
Absolutely. We're into the Simon stretch, though. Hole 11 and hole 12, 2 of the biggest open crushes on the course. Hole 11 is a par 4, downhill, 780 feet. You got to kind of clear the Christmas trees and find yourself a landing zone where you can actually make your next shot without being obstructed. And then the basket is tucked pretty far back in there, so you really have to hit a gap.
Yeah, this hole has changed over the years. The tee has been the same, the basket's been the same, but the amount of trees that's been cut down in the fairway has made this hole so much easier to approach. For so long, when you just throw a long drive, and you just kind of had to hopefully find a spot where you could throw.
Yep.
And then there was a time where there was some trees and there was just a little bit of a landing zone. Now it's just where the bulk of the landing zone is almost completely wide open. Maybe 3 or 4 trees that are all the way at the end that could potentially be in the way.
Yeah.
But this one's all about just throwing it as far as you can. And it's really fun to kind of get out of those tight woods that you have in the front nine and finally be able to just open up and throw one far.
Yeah. Annoyingly, we had a headwind here, so we weren't really able to give the disc a huge ride because you have to play a little bit overstable so that you don't test those woods on the right. But these 3 shots were pretty similar. All of us kind of in the Christmas trees, but pretty far up the fairway. Simon tightened down his 360 shoes here, looking to show off, and he has crushed it.
Wow, that needs to stop turning. Or just keep doing exactly what it's doing because it's going really far. Oh, and he's on the edge. That is gigantic.
Yeah, fantastic shot. And
Oh,
he
wow.
wasn't even happy with that. But
No.
it was fantastic. He's
Sure.
way up there.
Oh, a little hello there.
Yeah.
And this kind of will tell you how difficult this course is overall. This was the 4th easiest hole in the course, which is kind of surprising because it's
Yes,
not
it is.
that easy, but it still averaged over par, 4.02, and it was the 4th easiest hole.
Wow.
So not many holes average below par on this course.
Probably about 3 of them.
Yeah.
There's my Firebird skipping up to the green.
Yeah, that's making it look pretty good there. And James has kind of tucked his angle a little bit harder than he'd like, probably. He's got to go through the inside. You want to keep your drive a little bit straighter to hit this main window here off to the left side of the screen. If you're off to the left, it's going to cut down the angle quite a bit and make it pretty difficult to find a way through.
Beautiful from Simon. Easy birdie.
Yeah, I think that if you finish off to the right side of the fairway from the tee, it makes for an easier approach because it opens up that big gap for the Anheuser approach.
Here comes James
Oh my gosh.
from 90 feet or something. I don't know.
He finally
75,
connected.
And he just cans it.
Oh man, we just saw him all over the basket from everywhere last week in Pittsburgh final round, and he finally gets one to go in.
He's got that spring in his step, folks.
Good for him. And there's a nice birdie there from Josh. Looks like we're coming up on a star frame if Nate can connect on his birdie putt.
Come on, Nate.
Nate, come on.
Please.
There we go.
Oh, good.
And proving why this is the 4th easiest hole in the course. It doesn't really scare you into getting a big number. You're not going to come out of this hole with a double or triple. Some players did.
Not likely, though.
But it is unlikely to get yourself into too much trouble. There was only 1 triple bogey, only 4 double bogeys. Everything else was par and birdie and bogey.
I did, though, feel like this was the only star frame I'd ever been a part of on that hole.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you're usually going to see at best 2 or 3.
Yeah.
All 4 is pretty impressive.
Hole 12, par 4. It's a little bit shorter than hole 11 at 650 feet, but it's a lot more technical. You're going uphill to begin. Only the very biggest arms have a chance to get to a place where they can see the basket, where they clear the crest of that hill. And then you've got a downhill tunnel shot to the green.
Yeah, it's such a difficult 2-shot hole. And unless you get over the hillside on your tee shot, it's going to be a very tricky approach. Thankfully, the grounds crew did clean out some of these pines that are up on the right. 1 year ago, James would have been stuck behind 2 or 3 pine trees. And off to the left side of the gap, there were other pines as well. And they really opened it up to allow the players to get a little bit more aggressive off this tee shot.
I'm going Destroyer, as you might expect, on a big distance hole. This is a little bit left of ideal.
Oh, but you're still on
It's
the
not a
hillside.
problem.
You're on the crest of the hill, which will allow you to at least see down the hill.
Yes.
Not being able to see down the hill, being able to throw straight downhill as opposed to over the hill and then down the hill allows you to get a much better angle. And that wind just rips Josh's drive straight over into the pines.
Yeah, got a bad wind drop, and he is in the trees.
I think Simon's thinking go for the green here.
You know it. And this was as good as I've ever seen it thrown.
Yeah,
this
and this is
cruising.
cresting the hill. Oh, yeah. And he's going to have a jump putt approach from down there. I mean, that's just making the hole so much easier than it is for no player.
The guy can't believe it. I couldn't believe it. This place I'll never throw a disc to. And I thought Roller here was super smart.
Yeah, he just didn't quite get it turned over enough, but it is heading down the hill, which would allow it to stand up more. It just catches a couple of rocks and maybe a tree or two, but pretty good recovery shot.
Yeah. Let's see some dart magic, baby.
Oh yeah, finding its way through the trees. That is just great.
I was really happy. Just kind of a little slight turnover on my R Pro dart, and it had time to flex back. Simon was slightly annoyed in a friendly way that shot worked as well as it did.
And James running his putt from 300
Yeah,
feet.
just a little 300-foot spinner. Josh here.
Wouldn't be surprised. Well, wow, I am surprised. I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised to see him give this thing a run, but
Yeah.
he's so good with those little touch putter shots, and that just got away from him. And as I expected, Simon is jump putting
Looking
Not even
for
jumping, just spin putting.
Oh man, just a little short. He was disappointed with that, which is weird because it's the easiest birdie ever recorded. But
Right.
he was thinking eagle.
Yeah, that's a pretty awesome drive there. Oh, come on, that's what these baskets are not supposed to do.
Yeah, maybe just a touch high, but please hang on to the thing. So that was just as high, and it made it.
Yeah, solid connection there from James.
Here's my birdie look.
Well done.
And I was I've never been in a group that recorded 7 birdies on 11 and 12 put together.
Yeah, I think that those trees that they cut down in the corner
made playing just a slightly easier.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you take the cumulative stats from 2016 to round 1, it wasn't that much different. It went from 407 to 409.
Okay.
So a little bit more difficult, actually.
Okay.
But it
could be based on some wind.
Yeah, I think there just might have been bigger numbers.
Yeah.
But I feel like there had to be more birdies this year through round 1 than round 1 2016.
Sure.
Need to dig deeper into the stats for that.
Hole 13 is 405 feet, dead straight downhill. The basket is right near a little ditch that is kind of the preferred landing zone. If you can get your disc to just kind of slide up and find that low spot in the ground. James is going with a rock, but he has turned it over a little bit. But he was fortunate enough to kind of spit through to a stand-up shot at least.
Yeah, there's usually a predominant tailwind here, and it makes a shot difficult to keep that disc flying straight the whole way. There's just so many trees down here in the bottom. There's one main open gap that you're trying to hit, and if you don't hit that gap, then you're just hopefully getting lucky through whatever else is down there.
Yeah. Simon's going for the most open gap.
Okay, that's over the trees.
Just over the trees.
Yep.
Not a shot you see very often. He's looking to just filter down to the pin. And it worked pretty well. If I remember correctly, he left himself, 45, 50.
I mean, you're playing Plinko when you go for that shot, but it does take bogey out of the equation if you have the power and accuracy that he has.
Yeah.
At worst, you're going to finish within 50, 60 feet.
Josh threading it through some trees here at the end. Really nice shot. Yeah. And he has found the ditch.
Yeah, the ditch, I mean, it doesn't matter where you are in the ditch. That's huge. That's a great shot from the tee.
Yes.
And a little pitch up here with a dart, I believe.
Yep, dart. Just trying to get it in the ditch. I didn't really have the opportunity to park it without being pretty risky, so I just lean on my putt.
Yeah, bogey really comes into the equation pretty quick when you're off to the left side of the fairway. And that's got to sit down. That hillside can get pretty fast. Oh, he stayed up, which is good because if that gets over those roots, he can track himself down to 50 feet pretty quick.
Yeah. Ooh, Simon just barely off and a little bit of a roll.
Sit down.
Stays in the circle, thankfully. Now we've got Josh with the only look at birdie in the group. Or the only look that goes in anyway.
And that's a great birdie. That's one. Coming into this round, I've played this tournament every year since 2009, and I had one birdie.
Wow.
In all of my years coming to Maple Hill, the Vibram Open, and I happened to connect on my second ever birdie yesterday. But it is a rare birdie to get for me at least. So. Josh Anthon coming up here and making it look pretty easy.
Yeah, very well done. Simon for his par, and he misses that on the left side.
This is just uncharacteristic. Un-Simon-like.
James in for par. And Simon's going to come up and tap out a bogey. James at 5 under, I'm at 4 under, Josh at 3, and Simon bringing up the rear at +1 right now. Hole 14 is a par 3, 420 feet downhill over the water the whole way. One of the signature shots on the course.
Yeah, I mean, Maple Hill has so many signature holes. If this were on any other course, it would be the signature hole. And we're going to have to discuss this for a second. We're actually within a mile of an airport, which is why we don't have the drone flyover here. So hopefully that doesn't bother you guys too much. But
yeah,
Jomez did a pretty good job of capturing the hole's essence, though.
Yeah, we're here in Leicester, just outside Worcester.
Yeah.
And the Worcester airport is stopping our drone from flying.
It won't even take off. The drone actually has a built-in mechanism that stops it from even taking off the ground when it's within a mile of the airport. Pretty cool.
Yep. Josh with a nicely thrown shot, skipping out just outside the circle. James following that same line.
And that,
just taking a little bigger skip.
I feel like the play for the right-hand player is to throw one over the water and kind of, you're not trying to attack the pin too much here. You're trying to hit that hillside that's about 8-9 meters away from the basket.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do happen to get lucky and pin it, then great. But that's really, oh my gosh.
Trying to put a bid on it.
Talk about one of the coolest aces you could ever
I know.
get.
I was dreaming for a second. Just hit right under the basket, but it looked like it had a chance out of the hand.
It was right on that line. Trusting a straight disc. What are you throwing here?
I'm throwing a flippier destroyer.
Okay. And just under the basket. And you still got work to do. You have a very scary 10-meter putt.
Yes. Death putt if I ever saw one.
And Simon's playing that more traditional, just safe out to the left type shot. And he's going to be down the hill. He's not going to really have a look for birdie. But it's Simon, so maybe he does.
Yeah, you never know with that guy. Does he run this?
And this is the putt that Ricky made when he won Vibram.
He does kind of run it.
Yeah.
Kind of half and half.
Yeah, that's a good
Smartly
safe bid.
played.
Yeah, that's a bid that you kind of expect from that range. You're not trying to get too over aggressive.
Yeah, James having a little bit better round for himself, not really in a position to make that gamble. Josh is a gambling man, but comes up just low.
Just a bit short. And that's a great birdie to get.
Why, thank you, sir. Yeah, I was very happy there. Death putt, like we said. Just kind of trying to put all my focus into the pull of the basket and just ignore the surroundings and just putt the disc.
It's more of a death putt for someone who putts like maybe Simon with that spin, lofty putt.
Absolutely.
You have that good up and down straddle putt that
I would have to absolutely airball or skip off the rim.
Skip off the top or the side rim and roll or something like that. Yeah. But still, nonetheless, a great birdie putt from you. And you and James are both at 5 under. And correct me if I'm wrong, James has no bogeys thus far. Do you have a bogey?
I do. Hole 5.
Okay, hole 5 you have a bogey. But other than that, James is playing
bogey
free
right now.
Which is, he only has 5 birdies thus far, which is pretty good.
Yep.
But bogey free on this course is a feat. There's just so many places you can get in trouble.
Yeah, hole 15 is 355 feet straight ahead, a lot of trees, and you kind of have to go over this ditch. I'm taking kind of a different route, going outside with the forehand, but I hit the very first tree available and take a kick and fall down in the ditch. So pretty poor shot by me. Josh trying to thread it right up the middle, but he has yanked it a little, and he's kind of joined me over there in the bottom of the ditch.
And this is a bit late to announce this, but I feel like it's necessary to say that Philo actually aced hole 14, the previous hole.
Yes, how could we have forgotten? Philo, a man of many highlights, has he aced the 420-foot water shot. If only there had been video. Hopefully he does it again today.
Yeah, that would be one of the most incredibly ridiculous things ever, but
yeah.
Pulling for him. And there's a shot from James get inside the circle, or right around circle's edge, actually.
Simon a little left, and he's make contact with some trees. Josh going to try a little forehand to get up back to the green. He threw it a little lower than he wanted, and it just kind of skids to a spot where doesn't have a lot of chance to make a par. I had a little standstill shot here with actually pretty good angle, but as you'll see, I sort of lost my balance.
Oh, no.
As I was making the shot, and I pulled it inside. Just a little unlucky. Just didn't quite set my feet well enough before I threw that shot.
At least you get to try it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I was super excited about the opportunity to try again. And look at me go. Wonderfully done. Bogey, bogey.
Well, just one bogey.
Yeah. Well, 2 bogeys for me on the day, but
Okay.
a nasty bogey right there. Mm-hmm. On a hole you kind of don't feel like it's very tough.
Yeah, this was one that produced mostly pars. I believe there were 80 pars. 56% of the field parred it.
That makes sense.
They're actually a pretty good number of birdies. There was 32 birdies.
Josh runs at it for par, but he comes up just outside, and he's going to have a little bit of a comeback putt to save his bogey.
And they made this hole a bit...
Ooh, James just misses it.
I want to say it's a bit easier. It's
A little shorter, right?
It's a bit shorter. Oh, goodness.
And look at Josh. He misses there, and now it's double bogey.
Wow. And it's one of the... I believe there were 8 double bogeys in the round for the day. But that is not Josh-like to miss this gap for one,
Yep.
and to miss the putt from inside the circle for a bogey. There's just some weird juju going on in the air. I mean, we see Simon struggling. Fortunately, you and James are trucking along, playing great golf, but it's just not quite the start that I expected from 2 of the elite players on tour.
Yeah, Josh takes a 5, I take a 4. James and Simon take 3s. That hole kind of beat us up. Hole 16 is a par 3, one of the hardest on the course, 530 feet directly straight. It is a little downhill though, so it's a little more reachable than that 530-foot distance would suggest. You just have to kind of hit the gap perfect or have some luck or something, and it is possible to 2 the hole.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Tell it to the 7 people who did 2 it yesterday. The main danger here, besides hitting early, is anything that kicks left. There's a lot of trees over to the left side.
There's actually even some OB over there.
There is OB if you get through everything. But if you get the distance that James got there before it kicked over there, much better chance of being able to get up and down for your par. But the play to get at least your safe 3 is to stay right. Anything that kicks right or just continually goes right. Oh, look at this.
Yes,
oh, wow.
Simon. He was shaking his head, claiming it was pure luck, but I'm going to say at best it was only 30% luck.
I mean,
the guy threw the thing great.
He threw it great. I mean, it had the perfect distance. So, I mean, there's only so much luck to get through the trees.
I'm kind of happy that fell in the middle, but I also feel like I hit the very first tree I could conceivably hit.
Right. And Josh is looking to bounce back after that 5, and he's going to be in a tricky spot. If you kick that tree, you got a fortunate kick because you're still pretty high up. It looks like Josh may be further down the hill. Having that hillside in the way plays for a much trickier approach shot. And you're going to have some work to do to save your par.
Yeah, I didn't quite throw that as hard as I wanted, and it came up about 12 meters away, I would say.
And Josh looked pretty comfortable with his approach, pretty confident when he threw that. But he caught some stuff there, and he's going to be probably outside par range.
Yeah, very, very difficult. James going tomahawk, and he finds the circle.
He's going to try to stay bogey-free. He's going to have about 32 feet to do so.
And Josh is just looking to make this shot.
Let's go. Get in there, Josh. Oh, goodness. No, Josh.
I think frustration setting in. He took about a millisecond to line that one up.
That's going to be back-to-back double bogeys.
That's painful.
And that's a great par save. Right after the bogey in the previous hole.
Yeah, I was super happy to connect there, kind of stop the bleeding. I was having flashbacks to taking 3 bogeys in a row in Pittsburgh in the final round, and I was like, I said to myself before that putt, like, no, this is in my control, and I'm not about to go on the slide here.
Oh, and that James knew that was to keep the bogey-free round alive going.
He did know. He said something about it right afterwards, like, I almost had a clean round. It's so hard to get a clean round here.
It is. And that bogey will put him back to 4 under?
I believe that's correct.
Which is a solid number. 17 and 18 coming up are fairly easy birdies. And to be able to finish this round at 6 under par, if he gets these, is a quality round.
Absolutely. We can't gloss over the fact that Simon just dropped in a routine little putt for 2 there on that hole.
He made it look so easy. It was kind of hard to even remember.
Yeah, to save the chance for his round to get a little better late. Hole 17 is a par 4, 650 feet. It's on the easier side as par 4s go at this course. You're going to have to throw a drive that moves slightly to the right. Big distance helps. But then the upshot is fairly open. You just got the basket kind of perched here on the edge of these rocks.
Yeah, it's actually the second easiest hole in the course.
Okay.
Par 4, it's coming in at 3.71. And not many holes, like we said earlier, are coming in at under par. So those ones that do, you got to take advantage here. And Simon has drifted off just a bit left, but I mean, a huge move on the disc. He should be able to jump putt in terms of the distance he is from the basket, but the angle might be a bit tricky.
Yeah. I'm going Destroyer here, trying to put a slight ante on it. Pretty happy with it. I think I could barely see it hit a tree, but it doesn't look like it did too much to it.
No,
I couldn't really see from the tee.
That'll keep you right in the middle, which is, anything that keeps you in line with the basket, you should be able to find a way to get up and down that hill. You want to avoid, obviously, anything in these Christmas trees early and anything that fades off too far left because the angle becomes very difficult to get back towards the basket.
Yeah, and the shot will be blind, and there'll be Christmas trees in the way. We don't want to mess with that.
No.
Josh put a good throw on it. James as well. Turnover driver.
And those are four quality drives there from our feature card.
Yeah, James, Josh, and I are all within about 10 feet of each other. Simon went a little farther up the hill.
It seems like a typical story.
Yeah. James with a very smooth putter shot. Floating in right next to the basket.
And he'll have a tap-in birdie there.
I'm going with the R Pro Dart here. Kind of fluffed it.
Ooh. Didn't quite commit to that. You'll still be looking at birdie, but you're going to have a downhill 35-footer or so.
Yeah, in that neighborhood.
Yeah, and that's going to be a little bit more than you'd like to have here with that nice drive.
Especially, with nothing in my way. And Simon just jump putting down. Not even jumping, just spinning one.
Yep. And there's just enough gaps. When you get that far up there, it's not that difficult to find a small gap that you can putt through.
So I'm just inside the circle.
Okay. And look at that. That's so hard to do. When you leave a quote unquote easy approach short like that.
Yeah, it's stressful.
It adds a lot more difficulty to that next putt. So quality putt there from you.
Thank you.
And Josh makes good there.
Birdie from Josh. Good to get a birdie after those rough holes that Josh just had to endure.
Right, and Simon with a great birdie stretch.
And James back to a birdie as well.
With a little flip trick, Simon's trying to have some fun and salvage a fun day regardless of the score. He was probably looking to put a lower number out there.
Absolutely. We have reached the final hole, hole 18, uphill 605-foot par 4 with a out-of-bounds area just before a very small green. So you have to play your drive into a nice spot and then make that decision. Am I going to go for this green or not? Because if you don't land within 10 meters roughly, you're OB.
One of the most iconic finishing holes in the sport. Such a fun place to finish. And if you have this shot right here to be able to go big...
This was the farthest throw I've ever seen on this hole, I feel like.
Maybe top 5 furthest ever thrown. I mean, he's pushing that OB wall. I know some people have hit that wall before.
Yeah. It looks like you had a front row seat.
Yeah, I'm right there in my hammock enjoying all the action. It's not the most difficult par 4. However, it is the dynamic of having the whole gallery right there set up with the bleachers and the sap house right there and the food trucks and all the vending and all the games that are going on behind. It's just a very fun finishing hole.
Yep.
And it's a great way to finish this round.
You got the eyes of your peers on you. The hecklers will come out.
Absolutely.
If you make a mistake here.
And you better bet that there's people up there gambling on what color disc you're throwing, who's going to throw the furthest, who's going to be the first one to get their disc in the basket. Anything you can think about, they're going to be gambling up there.
If anybody said Simon wasn't going to get the furthest, I pity them for their bet was kind of a foolish bet.
So we see 1 air shot and 3 really quality rollers. Really just has to avoid being behind those trees. He's going to have something to work with there. But he'd like to be 4 feet further.
Yeah, I'd like to be about 40 feet further, but this is not a bad angle.
And just pushing that inside wall there. bringing out towards the back wall, you're going to have about 15 feet for your finishing birdie.
Yeah, I was really happy. This can be a tricky shot. A lot of times I'll feel like I've thrown this shot well, and then sometimes I'll get a red flag. It's like you can never really quite rest until you see the green flag. It's kind of blind up that hill.
And everyone goes crazy when it comes onto the green. It just adds that extra fun factor.
James turns it over, sliding it right up to the pin.
Pretty routine shot there from James. That's his bread and butter at that distance with his old beat-up JKs.
And this is what Simon lives for. Big crowd, big putt for the eagle. And he is just an inch off.
And think about that. If that goes in, he actually ends up shooting a 3 down,
Yeah.
57, which is a quality round.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I mean, just looked like he was struggling for 15 to 18 holes.
Oh, and Josh, one more insult for him. That is really tough. Not his best round by a long shot.
And all your peers up here watching you, it does make that putt. If you're outside 15 feet, that putt just basket seems to get just a bit smaller.
Definitely. You don't want to be the guy everybody's laughing at about 10 minutes after you finish the round. When you try to go say what's up to everybody, they go, "Oh, nice putt there on 18."
Certainly not. And James just squeezes that one over the top rim. A solid 54 from James.
Josh is in at even par 60. Simon at 2 under 58.
And 2 quality rounds there from Nate and James. Coming in at 6 under par. That's about the pace you have to shoot every round if you want to be in the contention at the end. But Ricky Wysocki and Nicholas Masters from Jacksonville, Florida end up shooting the hot round at 7 under.
Yeah, nice playing, and we've got a big tie at 6. And then Jeremy, there you are at 5. We're all still in this thing.
Yeah, I actually shot the only bogey-free round of the day. Didn't have too many
Nice.
birdies, but put together a solid round in the end, just picking up a birdie here and there.
Nice. Well, thank you again to Jomez, Overstable, Germ, the stats man, powered by
David Clancy from CSU.
Thank you, David. And we will catch you guys tomorrow for round 2 action.
Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Be sure to check in for the rest of the week.